Hi my loves! In this video I'm going to be telling you all about my cheek piercings or dimple piercings. So if you're interested in hearing more about them, keep watching. We're going to start off with like the very basics first. What the fuck are cheek piercings? What are dimple piercings? Why would you want them? Cheek piercings, as the name suggests, are piercings on your cheeks. Some people get them to kind of make fake dimples, which doesn't always work, to be fair. Like, the theory is you get the piercings, you have them for about a year, then you take them out again and it leaves you with dimples. Most of the time that's not the case. They will heal back over, they will scar pretty badly. You'll be left with more just a scar than a dimple, but you know, that's whatever, that is neither here nor there. If you have dimples already, a lot of the time your piercer will place them in your existing dimples, which is what mine did. And obviously the position can vary. Technically, like if you want to be really technical, I think dahlia piercings would be considered cheek piercings. They're the ones like right in the corners of your mouth, and the position of cheek piercings can vary from like dahlia territory to all the way like out here. However, the further away you go from the corner of the mouth, the higher is your risk of potentially hitting a facial nerve and causing like facial paralysis and all that fun stuff, which is why some piercers don't even perform cheek piercings. They are kind of a controversial piercing. I live in a big city and there's only 2 studios I can think of that do them, and neither of them are all that, what's a nice way to put it? Reputable? But they are becoming more and more popular, I feel like, than they were when I got them done. Which again, I mean, it's been 10 years, so things change. So I got my cheeks pierced 10 years ago when I was just 16. Being allowed to get them done was my Christmas present that year, because I still needed someone to come with me and sign for them because I wasn't a legal adult yet. I got like the kind of okay for them on Christmas, and then on the 27th, I think, like when shops opened back up again, I was right there being a fucking menace and getting my Christmas piercings. So like I said, my piercer placed them in my already existing dimples, which is also why they're maybe a little bit uneven. But I think like when I smile, they form like, I'm looking in the mirror behind the camera, they are the most even when I smile. But if I'm just like looking straight ahead, they're a little crooked, but I don't mind actually. Getting them pierced actually was nowhere near as painful as I feared they would be. I couldn't even tell you on like a scale from 1 to 10. I couldn't tell you a number because I don't remember. I remember sitting there and getting them done and then being at home and trying to eat noodles and being in absolute fucking agony because I had like super long bars, which I really needed for the swelling. I looked like a chipmunk for like a good 2 or 3 weeks. I think honestly, I'm gonna say the pain was maybe like a 5 out of 10 if I, you know, had to wager a guess. And I had really long bars in. I don't know if I can find pictures. Again, it was like 10 years ago. I don't think I took that many photos when they were healing because I looked like a chipmunk and I hated myself because I was a teenager. But the bars were super long. My cheeks swelled up a lot. They weren't crazy painful or anything with the healing. They just swelled a lot. My initial jewelry were PTFE Libret studs, which looking back isn't like the best material, but it is quite popular for oral piercings where I live. Some piercers also like using it for ear piercings because they're super easy to just like snip off and shorten. Again, it's like the same thing with cheek piercings. Everyone's very divided on it. I know a lot of piercing shops in Europe really love using PTFE, and it's also what people are taught to use. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about cheek piercings, not good piercing jewelry materials. Yeah, I got them pierced and it took about 4 weeks for the swelling to go down enough to where it made sense to shorten them, because cheek piercings are kind of known for being annoying and just like randomly flaring up and like swelling a little bit and needing to size up and then size down, because if you don't size down quick enough you will get irritation bumps because it moves too much, and they're just overall very annoying piercings. The initial healing time for me was pretty okay. I don't remember anything major happening. Of course, since I'd gotten them before New Year's Eve, I didn't really stick to the care sheet that they gave me that said not to drink and not to smoke. But, you know, in my defense, I was 16 and dumb. I didn't really have any, like, major issues right away. They healed fine, and they also weren't super annoying for the first about 3 years. Like, there's nothing I can remember that would be worth noting, really. When I'd had the piercings for around 3 years is when my right one started getting like those typical cheek piercing pus-filled irritation bumps. At the time, like, everyone I asked was basically saying to like poke them and drain them, and that it's just like normal, like, for that to happen with cheek piercings. But just because something is common doesn't mean it's normal. So I do have quite a bit of scar tissue around there from those irritation bumps always forming. So what was mostly causing those irritation bumps and like gross things was just like a combination of not really cleaning my piercings as well as I maybe should have. I thought just washing my face was enough, but like, you need the saline spray even if they're healed and even if you've had them for years, please. Sleeping on it a lot. I do think that the jewelry played the biggest part in this one constantly being irritated for like 3 years or 4 years. I did finally make the switch to titanium bars. Actually, not like super long ago, like 3 years ago. I've changed. I see the light and they're so much better now. I also clean them regularly now and all that good stuff. My secret weapon, I suppose, because my right cheek piercing still acts up sometimes. Nowhere nearly as often as it used to, and it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be, but it still sometimes does, like when I'm about to start my period or if I sleep on this side a lot, it just kind of gets irritated. And my secret weapon for that, especially for like the week before my period, is that I take like a tiny little square of second skin or Saniderm, and I cut like a little notch in it, and I just put it on, like, on and around my piercing hole, and it just helps it be less irritated. I don't know why it works, but it does. I also don't even remember when I started doing that or why, but it's like my holy grail thing for cheek piercing irritation, because I figured if it works on a fresh tattoo, maybe it also works on an irritated piercing that is 10 years old, and every other piercing that's 10 years old and it's still irritated, no one would want to deal with anymore. But since it's cheek piercings and I'm very stubborn, here we are. Funnily enough, my left one just kind of healed and nothing ever happened with it. Like, I've never, like, knock on fucking wood, Never had an irritation bump. It never swelled. I never needed to upsize. I never, like, nothing. It is, in fact, so well healed that I sometimes drool out of it, or like dribble coffee or whatever I'm drinking out of it, just because it's so well healed. But aside from all the irritation and having to sometimes upsize and downsize, which, like, thank fuck I haven't had to do in a long time. Like, this one is finally starting to calm down and be mostly good. They are still some of my absolute favorite piercings. I probably, if I didn't have them now, but I knew what I know about them, I would probably still get them again. That doesn't mean I would necessarily recommend them to everybody. I've seen a lot of people online, whenever someone asks about cheek piercings, just be like, oh, it's an advanced piercing, don't get it if you're not experienced. But I don't think just saying it's an advanced piercing really helps anyone. The main thing is you have to be really diligent about cleaning it and taking care of it. You also have to be really diligent and willing to go see your piercer multiple times, to upsize, downsize, whatever, go for checkups, especially in, like, within the first 6-ish months is when it's the most intense. Like, you have to be willing to do that and be on top of that. Otherwise, you will have so many problems with these fucking piercings. They're just really annoying. And for some people, it also, like, the whole irritation thing isn't solved by switching to titanium or cleaning more regularly or anything. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And for a lot of people, that is the case with cheek piercings, just because you move, like, this area a lot, you know, like cooking, eating, you just move it a lot. That's also why they get so irritated and everything. And, like, the constant work and constant upkeep is one of the main reasons I think most people retire their cheek piercings. I don't really know that many people with cheek piercings, period, but all the ones I do know, they did retire them after, I think the longest anyone stuck through was like 3 or 4 years, which obviously is not to say that everyone's only going to have the cheek piercings for 3 years. I'm at 10 years. I have no plans to retire them anytime soon, but that is just the reality of it. You know, a lot of people just don't want to deal with the constant upkeep and the constant, like, irritation and annoyance of having cheek piercings, which is completely valid. It's just something that I have also found some people maybe downplay, or they kind of hide under the guise of, oh, it's an advanced piercing kind of a thing. But even if you're experienced with, like, having piercings, they're fucking annoying to take care of. So when people ask me if I would recommend them, I say fuck no. If you're, like, prepared to become best buds with your piercer and probably leave, like, a good chunk of money there for, like, upsizing, downsizing, jewelry changes, and you're prepared to baby them for years and years on end, and maybe as long as you have them, then I don't see why you shouldn't get them as a, like, beginner piercing. And if you're also prepared to maybe let them go after a year or 3 years or whatever, even after the massive amounts of money you put into them because it just doesn't work out, why not get them? If you know what you're getting into, like, get whatever fucking piercing you want. So aside from being, like, notorious for being fucking annoying, they're also notorious for, kind of in the same vein, healing up super quickly if you take them out. And I wouldn't necessarily say that's like an oral piercing thing. I think that's just kind of down to them being irritated all the time, because this side I could take out and leave it, and probably leave it for like a couple hours probably, and or like even a day, and fit something back in. This side, absolutely not. I think it just has more to do with cheek piercings being irritated most of the time so that they close up. I don't think that was a good sentence, but I can't, my brain doesn't work anymore. Another thing is dental damage, which people like to bring up a lot. Me personally, I have to try really hard for that to like get them to rub up against my teeth, but that is also something to keep in mind with any oral piercing, obviously, is that there's like the potential for oral damage. I think that covers most of the things that people ask me about the most and that I think could be helpful for someone thinking about maybe getting cheek piercings or someone who's like on the fence about them. I'm sorry if this video is like super all over the place. I don't know. I feel very out of it. I think that's it for this video. If there's any questions you still have or anything you want to know more about that I maybe didn't touch on this video or didn't answer, please do leave them in the comments below. Okay. Weird. Please leave them in the comments below and I will be happy to chat with you there. That's it for this video. If you liked it, please consider leaving me a like. And if you want to see more of me babbling into my camera at 2 AM, consider subscribing. I would be so happy to have you here. And that's really it for real for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. This is out of order and it's making me uncomfortable, but I'm gonna leave it. Bye!